Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here in the studio on a Wednesday evening, and we're gonna hope to paint. Where's my finger? That little bird over there, an American robin. We're gonna have a good time painting that. I hope so. I hope everybody who's here has come ready to have a good time, ready to ask a few questions, and let's just jump right in with it. Going to be using my King Art brushes here. I do like my King Art brushes. The paper that I'm using is Fabriano Studio paper, and my paints over here on my right hand side are, of course, the Emgram paints that I love so much. I'm just going to jump right in, and I'm going to start by painting the background pretty lightly. I want to have a little bit of blue here, so I'm going to use a little bit of Cerulean Blue, just mix a little bit of that up, and I want a little bit of green. We're going to have hopefully some dappled light coming in the sides here. For me, that green is going to be some Cobalt Green. That happens to be the green that is on my palette, and where I need to, I'm going to mix in a little bit of Hansa Yellow. And then I'm just going to jump right in, and these are little shapes, simple shapes that are way in the background here. Right, maybe we'll throw in some darker colors in here, but let me get this wet. Right, we've got a tree trunk here, we've got a tree limb here, or I should say a limb there. We got the bird in front. So we've got some middle ground and foreground shapes here. I just want to kind of paint around those. Everything that is not those is kind of what's in the background, and that's where we're going to start. And shoot, I did it again. I should have started over on the left hand side. That might have made things a little easier for me going forward. But we've got some nice greens in here. Let's drop some greens in. Whoop, I'm a little off the screen. Let's drop some blues in. There's a little bit of light shining through in some of these places. Maybe some's a little darker here. Right? Maybe some's a little lighter, which is my cobalt. There we go. So maybe some's a little oranger, if that's a word. Something like that. We just want to get a nice background going back there. Excuse me. All of a sudden, my throat doesn't want to cooperate with me. It wants to say there's something in there. It's a frog in there, and I'm not even painting a frog tonight. What we really need is a robin to be in there, some kind of a bird to be in there. I don't know. And maybe this is how it goes back there. Should say we're streaming mainly here on YouTube this evening, as with most evenings, but also streaming over on Twitch. Also, so everybody over at Twitch, hello, how you doing? Hope you're having a great evening. If you guys have any questions about anything, please speak up. Let me know. I love answering questions about things. Liza is here. Hello, Liza. Good to see you again. I think I've screwed up my chat here. Somehow I've made it bigger than it needs to be. Anyways, Liza, thank you for coming back. Always good to see you back here. And I'm going to flip this around, and we've got this background shape on this side too. I'm going to get that wet, and we'll put some color on there. This might look a little dark. There are no other colors on it right now, but this will lighten as it dries. Liza, I was sure to put some dancing on the screen for you since you weren't here to do that. I put that up there as the intro played. Trying to look out for you. Tom is here. Hello, Tom. Good to see you again. And everybody on YouTube, watch out for the people on Twitch. I think I've got it hooked up so that all of the chat should come down there, so we'll be able to see what anybody is saying. Hopefully, we'll be able to see everything. I feel like a couple of times I've missed a few conversations because my integration wasn't quite right, but I think we got a lot of it now. We got a lot of it worked out. Anyway, we're going to pretend that we've got a lot of it worked out, whether we have a lot of it worked out or not. I think it'll all be fine. Just trying to put a smattering of some blues in here. Right, these are just some green colors that are going to be running through here. Some are a little darker, some are a little lighter. That's okay. I'm okay with that. You look up into the trees, you see all kinds of green colors. You see lots of colors that maybe aren't even green also when you're looking up there. Of course, you've got some of the sky behind there. Maybe there's some flowers in there, or maybe there's just some shade and shadow that's adding to the way the light comes through, and it's just a little odd, or maybe not a pure color. Right, but we got a lot of that going on. Here we go. Let's see. Let's turn that around and see how that looks. That's a decent background, I think. A little warmer, a little darker. As we get down to the bottom, I'm going to have to take just a little bit of color off of here. I'm not necessarily looking to take the color off, but it's a bit moist, and if I don't, I fear as though I'm going to have some big runs on this side. I'm going to get a couple of drips. I don't want any drips. Drips are no fun. So, let's see. And with that, now that I've made everything wet and I can't really do anything, let's see what we can do. I'm going to jump over and grab some of this yellow ochre. I'm just going to use it straight right here. This yellow ochre is going to be the base for the nest that these little chicks are sitting in. We've got a few extra people who've shown up here now. Anybody who's here, has anybody stopped by, say hello. I love talking to people. Part of the reason I do these live streams is for the interaction. It's just fun to meet people from across the world, around the globe. Get some nice interaction. I can always paint like this in the studio by myself, but for me, these Wednesdays are always so enjoyable because there are a number of us here. And we generally have a nice discussion, so if you guys want to throw anything out there to talk about, I'm all for it. Okay, so this is damp, this is wet, this is wet. I guess I'm going to come over here and start on a little something over here. What color do I need? Let's start with a little bit of this burnt umber. It's a lovely color, right? And we'll mix a little bit of ultramarine blue in there. Which one is ultramarine? This one. And I'm going to leave this much more on the warm side. It's going to be a bit of tree bark, and then we'll put a little bit of green in here too. But tree bark to me is never brown, it's never green, it's never gray. It's kind of a mix of a lot of different colors. So let's see if we can get some of that color on here. Shoot, maybe we'll throw a little sepia in here in a couple of places. I want to keep this a little mottled. I'm just holding a finger on it because it's starting to warp that little bit, and I don't really want it to warp much at all. Let's see, we got some blues that might show up in here too. It's tree bark. Whatever colors I want to throw in here, it's going to work for bark. We will need a little bit of texture on this maybe. But already, just having it that little bit warmer color, right? The saturation is probably pretty close to the green that's behind it, but the warmer color in the front helps to pull it forward. So we're gonna go with that. Liza, you're saying the robin is your favorite bird. That's a good bird to have in a favorite bird. I always like the robins in the spring. I growing up in Ohio, we used to see, right? The cardinal is the one that you see that harbingers the spring, but really what you wanted to see were the robins. And the robins would hop around and eat up all the worms from the yard, and they're beautiful with their orangey red breast there. You saved 2 baby robins last spring. That's fantastic. So yeah, I always used to like robins. I don't know that I've seen a robin out here where I'm at in California in a long time, and that's okay. It's just a little weird not seeing them, for sure. All right, so a little bit of color. We may not even see this if we. Do I have a? I was looking to see if I had a frame. By the time you ever put a frame on there, you might not actually see this down in the corner, the lower left-hand corner. It's pretty small, but put something there. It's going to push the nest back a little bit, which is going to push the bird back a little bit, which is going to push the tree behind the bird back a little bit. It's going to make these the greenery on the side go even further back. So we definitely want to have that there. We're still a little damp, so I can't go too far. What paper am I using this week? You came in a little late. All good. This is Fabriano Studio paper, I believe. I think I've got it here. Yep, this is it. Fabriano Studio paper, 25% cotton. That's it. I got it in a nice big pack of 50. So that's the paper. It's not bad paper. I like it. I need to move this up just a little bit. I think I'm a little too close. There we go. It's like right in my eyes. It's nice paper. It's got a little bit of tooth to it, so you can see. Actually, you can see if I do this. You can see the colors will settle in there a little bit, especially those cobalts. Maybe not so much on that side. It's still a little damp. On that side, you can see the color starting to settle in there a little bit. That happens with cobalts and with paper that has a nice tooth on it. It is cotton, or 25% cotton, so it has some of the cottony qualities. the all wood pulp paper sometimes will either take the color and spread it out too far, or it'll get to a certain spot and stop, and it dries more quickly. Cotton seems to dry a little more slowly. And again, this doesn't make it better or worse, it just makes it different. Something you have to make sure we're accounting for as we're painting whatever it is we're painting. Let's see. I'm gonna move to like this size of a brush. Now this is one area where we have to be careful as we're doing this because let's do this. Let's look at the reference photo. The feathers on the back of this robin really aren't too much different in color. A little warmer in some areas and a little stronger in intensity, but aren't too much different in color than the surrounding bark on the trees, right? And I think nature does that probably for a pretty good reason, because if it weren't that way, it'd probably be picked off by predators and easy marks for, you know, raptors, you know, bigger birds and whatnot. So we're gonna do our best to see what kind of a gray we can come up with. And I think in order to ensure that I've got a different gray, I'm gonna make my own gray out of that ultramarine and burnt umber, and then I'm gonna mix in a little bit of Paynes Gray, which has a slightly different tint, and we're gonna make sure that I want this first layer to go on really thin, because I want it to go over the white spots on here. We're going to make sure that these colors are just different enough that you're never going to confuse them. Well, of course, you're never going to confuse them anyways, because we're going to have the different intensities of colors, but we're really going to ensure that you're never going to confuse these. And this is going to go on, and it's going to be a bit cold, especially on this bird's head. It's going to be a little cold initially, but we're going to warm this up. On that reference photo, especially right around the eyes, that gray is a lot warmer. It's almost a brown in most of those areas. It gives us a good opportunity to do some serious graded washes, right? It's gonna be, I love doing a good graded wash. We can start that right up close to the eye and bring that all the way down. For me, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I like doing that kind of stuff. So we're gonna get to do that. And let's see, I'm going to bring this color down, down, down. I'm going to paint in some of the feathers here, just as they kind of hang around her neck. I'm assuming this is a her, maybe a him, I don't. I love painting birds, but I will admit to not being much of a bird expert. Not much of a bird expert at all. There we go, and as long as we keep a wet edge, we can pretty much do whatever we want to do with this color. Just have to make sure that what we want to paint, we don't get into painting and stopping and painting it and stopping. We just got to keep going with it. Keep that wet edge, keep a bead going all the way down. It's funny that, excuse me, funny that this week I totally feel in control of this bead of water. Totally feel like I can just do whatever I want to with this. And last week when I was painting the cityscape in a wet and wet style, I felt totally out of control. I mean, it was an interesting painting. I really enjoyed doing it. It is interesting just to be able to feel like you're putting paint on paper and you don't have a care in the world about it. but I did feel a little out of my depths last week. We're getting it. We got a little bit of paint left, and we got this only little tiny spot here to go. Let's see. Normally I tell some stories here about this time. Everything's a little damp, and I need to fill some time while things are drying. I'm trying to think what stories I can tell. I don't even know. Not much has happened this week, really, to me. It's been a pretty quiet week here on the West Coast. Excuse me. I think I need to get a drink of water. I got my big giant water jug back out. I love my big giant water jug. So excuse me while I get a quick drink of water. All right, we've got a few people trickling in here on YouTube, and excuse me, if you're new to the stream, then say hi. I'd like to greet you and find out a little bit about you. Say hello. There's a couple of us here. We're pretty nice. There are a few regulars that are missing, but I'm sure, I have faith, they'll be along soon. Let's see, I'm going to get a little mix of some Gamboge and a little bit of this cold Hansa Yellow. And I'm gonna jump to painting a couple of these beaks on these little chicks here. Right. Just get some color on there, something like that. This guy too. And even though this one over here, he's got his beak open, I'm going to paint the entire thing, and then we'll come back in and paint the inside of this a little differently. We're going to let it dry a little bit first. I will say, Susie is here, just listening. Hello, Susie. Thank you for joining. Once again, it's great to have you here. Yeah, just listening is fine. Just listening is fine. Let me translate that to everybody over in Twitch land. Just listening over there is called lurking. So if you're lurking, you're just in the stream to listen. You don't want to participate, or you're not able to participate in the conversation. So Susie, you're lurking with us today, which is totally fine. I think I put that on just a little heavy, which is why I'm just trying to pull a little bit of this off of here, a little bit of color off of here, as long as it's just slightly wet. And we know we're going to be going over it again anyways. We can do that. Liza said, I think he did just fine last week. Last week was interesting. Yeah, it was fine. It was not at all what I would normally do, and that's, totally okay. I'm all for trying to stretch and trying to push your limits again, but I do like to recenter kind of in what I would call my sweet zone. And I think that's kind of what we're getting to today. All right, I'm going to attempt to do a little bit of this bird's red breast, right? The big thing about this bird. So a lot of Gamboge here and a little bit of Pyrrol Red. That Pyrrol Red a little bit goes a long way. Should give us a nice subtle orangey color. And we're going to see if we need to alter that at all. I want to get a nice watery mixture here. And if some of this comes off a little redder or a little oranger or a little more yellow, you know what? I'm totally fine with that. That's not going to bother me at all. In fact, I want to make it a little bit more yellow in here. I'm totally fine with that because, well, first of all, a little variation in color really does help things out, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, this really is just a base coat. And we're going to go over it again. And even though our base coat may be one specific color, we can always augment that color going a different way. I'm trying to be very careful and not go over the lines. Sometimes I'm good at that. Sometimes I'm not very good at that. Let's see. Susie says, I'm seeing lots of robins in Maryland this year, which is great. I love when people can see birds, or maybe even at a little higher rate than normal. I'll tell you a little story, since I like to tell stories, and since I have a captive audience. So my little town that I live in, here in California, we have a bird festival every year. We have a lot of migrating birds up and down the coast, and many of them stop here. We've got a little protected estuary that they all stop in, and when migratory birds stop, it's an opportunity for the locals to get out and see some things that they wouldn't normally have seen. So a bird festival started years and years and years ago, like 15, 20 years ago. And it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger each year. And it's gotten so big that people from around the United States and Canada show up here and come and look at birds. Well, I didn't go to it this year, but last year I made sure that I was going to be out and about when the birders were here. Birders is what they call themselves. Birders, not burgers. And so they get out early in the morning, like 7:30 in the morning. So, like I said, all good. I don't have any problem with it. And so I'm out there, and I get up that early, and oftentimes go for walks down by the shoreline, where they gather and look for shorebirds and, I don't know, falcons and ospreys and all kinds of stuff like that. So I happened to be out that one morning, and they gathered at the bench in front of a restaurant, a group of, I'm going to say about 20 people. And the guide is telling them what they're about to see and what they can expect and where they're going to walk and all of this stuff. And they're all just looking at each other, and they're talking, and they're doing whatever it is that they do in their group. And then they walk down the pathway towards the ocean. Cool. All well and good. The only issue was, up on a light post above them was an osprey that they didn't seem to take any notice of. It had been sitting there before they started to gather, and it was there after they left. And not one of the birders bothered to look up and go, "Hey, by the way, did you see the 4-foot-tall osprey that's up above us?" I just thought it was, pretty hysterical. Liza says, "I think it's great that you stretch." Yeah, it's fine. I'm endeavoring to do a little better job, which we're gonna do. We'll do some better loose paintings like that. And Liza also says, I try to do anything that scares me or that I think I can't do in all areas of my life. You keep trying. You keep trying to do those things that scare you or you don't think you're going to do well. That's a noble thing. It took me a minute to to do that. Sometimes typing, probably on a phone or something, gets a little difficult, right? And and Liza, I'm glad you have a lot of robins in Wisconsin. Susie's got them in Maryland. And my wife tells me, this isn't a robin story, but my wife tells me we have an oriole here somewhere. It lands in our tree in the front yard. I have yet to see it, but she claims it's there. And I claim she just sees it to taunt me. She just says it's there to taunt me because I've never seen it. All right, I want to do a little bit on the inside of this guy's mouth here. I'm sorry, on the inside of his beak. I guess technically it's his mouth, but it's his beak. I just want to add a little color. What I'm hoping to do is just define the outside of his beak here, right? It comes to a point on the edge. That's really, that's really all I'm looking to do here. We're gonna go over it, and we're gonna make this better and better and better and better. Yes, I realize I'm turning it. I know that sometimes that makes it difficult. Bear with me. We're gonna get there. There you go. There's the inside of his mouth. Let's see, give me a little bit of darkness here. A little bit of blue. A little bit more of that red color. And we're going to have most of the inside of his mouth here pretty well defined without doing too much. I do have just a tiny little puddle of water there that I don't really want. And again, you guys tell me if I'm going too fast or I'm going too slow. Let me know if you want to see something different. You want an explanation. Liza, I always know you're good about asking questions. I really appreciate that. Susie, 45 minutes from Baltimore, you've never seen an oriole. Well, I'm right in the same boat with you, other than I'm 45 minutes from anywhere. I've never seen an oriole. I've never seen an oriole, but they do sell oriole food in our local hardware store, so I'm guessing they are here, actually. They must be here somewhere, or they wouldn't sell that food. Nobody would buy it. All right, cool. So I got the inside of that guy's mouth pretty nicely done. Maybe we have to darken a little bit up there, but you can definitely see there's something going on there. It's open. There's some definition on there. I also love hummingbirds, which I have seen rarely in my long life, but it's always a joy. Oh, Liza, that's too bad. Hummingbirds are wonderful. That is one thing we have plenty of out here. I love watching the hummingbirds fly around. I think I've got 2 feeders. In fact, I need to get my feeders out. I need to get my feeders out so they can come and hang out and buzz past me. The little guys are so fast, so aggressive when they fly around, and such a joy to see. I've been getting an ad about some new dangled hummingbird feeders. They claim it's foolproof, of course. Newfangled. Newfangled. There you go. I think the best thing to do about hummingbird feeders is have hummingbirds where you're at. I don't know if honestly, I don't know how much the feeder itself makes a difference, but they're around here. they were supposed to be around other places I've lived too. And I usually found it hard to find them or see them. I knew people who had feeders, and the feeders would go, you know, somewhat or mostly unused for long periods of time, and hardly ever saw the birds. But here, where we have a ton of hummingbirds, oh, they're everywhere. And when they fly past you, they'll like dive bomb you, and you feel like you gotta duck to get out of the way. You don't have to, because they know what they're doing. They're a lot smarter and better than we are. But man, it does seem like they are gonna crash right into you sometimes. All right. Let's get some nice color on here. It's a disc. You mix sugar and water. The ad claims it's the right depth for their beaks. Oh, interesting. Yep. Yeah, I mean, again, I totally can see it. But I also know, like my mother, when she lived in Burbank, she had a ton of hummingbirds come to her house. She had 4 feeders at her house. Four. And with 4 feeders, sometimes she was refilling them twice a day. That's how many hummingbirds there were. And she would from time to time just put a plate out like a saucer, and they would land on the end and drink that sugar water from that. So I know that you can feed them, and there probably is a right depth, but they probably can figure it out too, even if it's pretty close. All right, not wild about this down here. I seem to have gotten a line, and I don't want to have that line. I'm not sure I can do a whole lot about it quite yet, as that's still a little bit damp. It's a disc, like an inch deep. I've got a what am I trying to say? I've got I guess it's a ring. I'm trying to think, well, how you describe it. I guess you would call it a ring that's got a flower on the end that you can put on, and if you can sit still enough, those birds are supposed to come right to you and sit on your finger and eat from the ring. I'm having trouble scoring nuts for my squirrels at our feed supply. They were ordered a month ago and have not come in yet. Oh, man. Oh. That's too bad. Liza, I'll admit, when you said that you're having trouble scoring nuts for your squirrels, I thought you were going to say you kind of break them open a little bit for them, and before you put it out there for them. That's what the problem was. You were scoring them, right? You're leaving a mark on there for them. You're scoring them. That's where I thought you were going to go with that. Well, that sucks. Tell your hardware store to... Did you say hardware store? Tell your feed supply store. Tell them to get on the ball. You got some hungry squirrels that need some food. For me, the ones I really like to feed are the scrub jays. Right, we don't have a whole lot of blue jays, but we have their cousin, the scrub jay. It's a beautiful bird. I like them very much. And they're a funny little beast. They will take peanuts, and my wife almost had them trained to take the peanuts right out of her hand. But they'll take peanuts and bury them. And like a squirrel, they'll come back later and get them and dig them up and eat them. But I've got a 40-pound bag of peanuts that I feed these scrub jays, and then you know, a month later I'll be raking leaves in the in the backyard, and all of a sudden I'll come across 25 peanuts that these guys have buried in my backyard or whatnot. Before I knew it was them, I was like, where are all these peanuts? Who's throwing peanut shells into my yard? I don't understand where all these peanuts are coming from. But it's fun. I love feeding the birds. The birds, I hope, like it quite a bit. I don't know. I would assume they do. All right. Does that look a bit like a nest? I just want to get some darks and some lights on here. To make it look like there's some sticks and twigs growing in here. It's a little lighter areas and some darker areas. We'll come back and we'll fix that up too, but I think it's starting to look a little bit like a nest adjacent. Let's see. Got a few more people joining over on Twitch. So if you're there, say hi. I'd love to talk to you. Streaming on Twitch and on YouTube this evening. I don't know what to say. Say hello. I love talking to people. I'm glad everybody's here. Natalie's here. Hello, Natalie. Good to see you again. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna get my gray going here again. Right, my gray for the color of this bird. I'm gonna put it over here. I think we said we'll put a little bit of Paynes Gray in there too. So we got our mix going here. Maybe cool that down a little bit more. There we go. And I think you can smooth. You think I can? You think you think I hope I can smooth it. We're talking about this area down here. I think I can do that. I just want to get some color in here where I've got some feathers. Right? We can add a little bit onto here, but there's like a row of feathers on this bird's back right down here. I want to get that on there. So I'm just going to put a line, and I'm going to pull that, smooth that all the way down. If that goes over the next set of feathers that I've got drawn, that's totally fine. I'm just trying to build up a couple of layers of color here. There it is. So we can start to see what's going on this bird's back a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to do a little bit here, right where I guess those would be, what do you call this area? I was going to call it the hood, but I don't think that's right. Right on this guy's back here. And come down just around that way a little bit. There we go. We're just starting to get some color, some good colors on here. Starting to build a little bit up. We'll take it slow, so we get some nice color generation on here. And if we need to darken it, we'll darken it. If we need to leave it a little lighter, we'll leave it a little lighter. But it gives us a place to start from. And I'm going to take that, what we've got there. Let's see, I'm teaching my first watercolor basics class later this month. That's very exciting. Going to start with supplies in the color wheel. Great play. Now that you mention it, I'm trying to see where my color wheel is. I have no idea. I just saw it the other day. Great. Natalie, how many are going to be in your class? That's exciting. That's great. I'm gonna drive out to the desert and join your class. How many Hang on a second. I need to look to see where I need to do this. Limited to 5. Okay, cool. An intimate setting. An intimate setting. That'll be fun. I'm so excited for you. I'm assuming, and I guess maybe I shouldn't assume. I'm assuming you're really excited about it. I've had so many people don't remember learning the color wheel. Yeah. You're right. I'm one of them. I only kind of tangentially learned the summer wheel, color wheel. I didn't learn the summer wheel either. The summer wheel comes after the winter wheel. No, it comes after the spring wheel. No, I think it's great. A little color theory can go a long way, right? Absolutely. And honestly, I'm a little jealous. I am. I started talking to my wife about, plans after work, not like in the evening, but after I'm done with my regular job. I've accomplished everything I want to do. What am I going to do? I think one of them was probably going to be teaching watercolor classes. My youngest wants me to be like a guest teacher at the high school where he goes to school, which would be a hoot. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But Natalie, I'm very excited for you. I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to do a great job. And the color wheel, I think, is a great place to start. And like you say, so many of us have probably heard of the color wheel. We know what the color wheel is in theory. We just haven't thought about it in a long time, or really how to use it, or how to use it effectively. They're going to be great. They're going to be great. Sudike is here. Tracy is here. Hello. Oh, see, no, everybody's coming in here now. That's fantastic. Great to see you too. I'm trying to, I'll catch you all up real quick. I'm trying to just put some basic colors on this bird, and that's what I have, right? And this bird is a really basic gray at the moment, and I'm trying to layer in some colors and build up through, a couple of layers, leaving maybe a little bit of light that shines through here and there. And build up these colors so that we have a fantastic bird when we're done. And I think it's going to be really good. We're starting to get there in some areas. I think I can. Unlike the little engine that could here. I think I can start to add a little bit more color. Well, maybe not quite yet. I'm trying to feel. It's not quite dry enough. It's a little drier up here. I don't want to go back over the top if it's still a little bit wet, because this paper won't stand for that. This paper will not like that at all, and we'll just end up with some mushy, runny stuff that nobody is going to like. So let's try to not to do that. Lots of my excuses. Old age. Bicycle Repairman is here. Wow. Hello. Glad to have you here. Fantastic. Been a while. So you had some scheduling issues. I get it. That's okay. Life gets in the way of watercolor painting sometimes. I get that. It happens to the best of us. So no worries there. I'm really trying to be thoughtful about some of the layers that are going on here and how they go on. Okay, and now that I've pretty much made this whole bird wet, I'm going to wait a minute. Susie says, Liza, I've been using the Saunders Waterford hot press and I like it. It's a little bit less expensive than Arches. Interesting. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not a hot press person, but I don't let that mean anything. It's totally a preference. In fact, I already know I should use it for some things that I don't use it for, because you can get some really nice fine lines in there. Oh, let's see, Michael, you should do that. What should I do? You should do that. Oh, you're talking about I should do watercolor classes when I'm after my retirement, whenever that retirement is going to be. Let's not talk too loudly about retirement, because I don't want anybody at work to know. I'm contemplating. But even though I'm contemplating, it's years down the road, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't think about it yet. But it is years down the road. All right, cool. So one little tiny bird head here. A little eye sticking out here. Let's see, I'm going to give, whoop, that's probably too much. I was going to give a little drop of blue right here, and now I think I've given too much. We're going to mix some of this in if we can, and let's get a little warmer color right up on the top. Just because I like mixing the colors. I like letting the colors mix. I guess that's the better way to say it. I like what the colors do. There we go. And if we can have a little variation in color, I don't know if you can see, there you go. A little brown, a little blue. That's probably the better way. Oh, and then you can see the tooth of the paper right there and how everything's kind of settling into that. Just a little bit of color there. A little bit. I want to make this a little darker. My goal, I'll tell you what my goal is. My goal is to make this a little darker than the nest that's in front of it. And if I can do that, then I seat him into the painting. Let's just seat him right down in there, that little bit more. Right? All I'm trying to do there. And what's wet, what's dry? What's wet, what's dry? I'm gonna paint this guy a little bit here. Same kind of deal. I'm gonna go a little lighter up here though. Let's see. I gotta go around kind of his eyeballs. I think his beak is really gonna start to pop when we do this. Uh-oh. I think I just went right into his beak. Don't do that. I got a little bubble in my paper and it popped when my brush went close. It'll be fine. It'll probably be fine. Liza says Arches Rough is also great when using any color that granulates. Yeah, it accentuates the granules a lot. Yeah, it does. Susie, I use Rough for snow paintings this winter. Arches Rough. Arches Rough is rough. Arches Rough is really rough. I understand why people used to use it for landscape paintings, because it's easy to get like a rough edge. It's easy to put some texture on there that looks like a tree line with that rough painting, or with that rough texture. It's just rough is rough for sure. All right. So I'm trying to go a little carefully around the beak here, with the caveat that I'm not really good at careful sometimes, but I'm trying to be good at it. Look, this guy's looking straight at you. He's like, barp, 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 looking right at everybody. He's going, come on, feed me. Feed me. He's going, I'm hungry. I want a big old worm. I think that's what I heard him say. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard him say. A little extra water here. Let's pull this out a little bit further. So give me a worm. I'm gonna ask. I don't know if I've asked anybody before. Have you guys watched the YouTube stream of the? It's gotten popular, so you may have the Eagles in Big Bear Valley, California. I turned them on at my office. We have a TV in my office that we use for like Zoom meetings and stuff like that. Eliza says I love retirement. Every day is a Saturday. We have a TV that we use for Zoom meetings and whatnot, and when it's not in use for that, we leave a YouTube live stream on it, which is fine. You know, at least it's getting used. Well, the live stream that we show typically are these eagles from Big Bear Valley, and the couple, Jackie and Shadow, that's the name of the couple. They had 2 eaglets this year, and I believe this is the first year in a long time that they've conceived. And so we watch them every day. If you haven't ever seen baby birds grow up, oh, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. And so my team now, when we walk past the TV, everybody stops for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to take a look to see how the babies are doing. And they are, they went from, being egg-sized, and I'm sure their eggs are bigger than a chicken egg, but I don't believe they're that much bigger. But from that to where they're almost, right now, full-sized, right? They're almost the size of their parents, and it's fascinating to watch. But they went through this period where every time the parents came into the nest, it was bark, 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 chip, 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 feed me, feed me, feed me. Let's see. Studika says, Liza, retirement means I don't need to be polite to people I don't like. Ouch. Oh man. Well, I hope you like everybody at the grocery store and on that you meet on your walks and whatnot. Man. Okay, so there we go. We got one little guy here. Look, if I tip him up, oh yeah, we got to go darker inside of his mouth there, but he's getting there. All of a sudden, you can see he's got a little attitude to him too. I think he's looking good. He's starting to look good. He's getting there. He's getting there. Getting there. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of our color that we had up here, this gray-brown color. I'm going to make it a little bit warmer because I want to make sure that underneath this eye, we have plenty of color under here. And I'm going to actually try to be careful so that I don't put my hand in the wet paint that's right there. I'm going to try very hard not to do that, because I do that a lot, and I don't like that I do that a lot. Okay, okay. That's a good amount of color right there. That's a good amount of color. I'm going to bring this down. I'm looking at the reference photo. I've got it up over there on my computer so I can see, you know, it's larger than what is shown here on your screens. It helps me see some of the colors a little bit better. And I'm going to try to bring this warm color down, down, down to the orange. I do like that blue that's underneath it a little bit. Like that blue-gray that's underneath there. That's a nice color. There we go. Does that look anything at all like that bird's head? It's getting there. I think we've got a little bit more to go. I think this needs to be a little darker all the way down there. And of course, right around the top here, but I'm going to let this sit for just a second and let this color dry just a little bit so we can come back in with our next layer on there. I'm going to move back over to the wings. Oh, giant pandas at the National Zoo. That's interesting. Well, I say you didn't know about the eagles. So the eagles I do know about. You can go to Friends of Big Bear Valley, FOBBV, Friends of Big Bear Valley, and they've got a link to directly to their YouTube channel, or you can just search on Big Bear Eagles here, and you'll see it. Let's see. Natalie says, I have a friend in upstate New York who's been photographing the local eagles again. Wow. Gotten some amazing takeoff and landing shots. I was lucky enough about a month ago when I was out fishing to get a glimpse. I didn't get a camera shot or anything like that. I wasn't lucky enough to have a camera. Oh, I guess I had my cell phone with me, but didn't really have a camera with me to get a view. Anyways, I should just say a view of an eagle catching a fish. That was really cool to see him come down, to be way up, and you can see the bald eagles way up there because they don't look like any of the other birds around here. And then just a swoop down right to the water, a little tiny splash, and then right back up into the air. Oh, fantastic. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So cool. So incredibly cool. All right, let's see. I just want to kind of accentuate these feathers a little bit. So I'm just kind of pulling that color up a little bit, just a little bit, and you can see what that does. And if I had any kind of a steady hand at all, you'd see what it does. But all of a sudden now we've got some big feathers there, right? We've got some bigger feathers, which is nice. That's what we want, is a few feathers. These are getting into the flight feathers. They're like the mid feathers, a lot of structural strength up here. Not like really long. So we want a little line in there. Let's make it look really nice. And I've kind of, speaking of lines, I've got a little bit of a tied line here that I want to get out while I still can. Okay. Let's see. I've got to, I guess I should say, I've got to kind of darken the inside of this guy's mouth that little bit more. Come on. Little darker color in here. Give me a little line. just a touch of this red, just a touch of this red in here. Ooh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. A little bit of orange on the outside of that, and I'm just gonna blend it out. A little bit of blending. And hopefully that looks like it goes deeper in there a little bit. You know what? I probably don't really need it, but I'm just going to put a little tiny drop of blue in there. That might be enough just to really set that off. Let's see, I got an eyeball over here. A little tiny eyeball on this guy. I'm just using straight black here. This guy's got a little tiny eyeball. Come on, straight black. They're little eyes. I don't think we need too much for their eyes here. Just a little bit. Now that big eye up here, I think we'll do more on this guy's eye up here, but these little ones, it's just a little tiny spot. We don't need too much on there. Where are we at? So we got a few more people in here. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate, anybody who's new here, anybody who's kind of hanging out in the background, if you'd like to say hello, let us all know you're here. We're all pretty nice. We're all pretty nice. That's one of the things I like about doing these lives is the conversation that we all have as we're doing it. So, I'd like, if you're here, just to say hello. I'd love to meet the people who watch my channel. But if you don't want to, that's okay too. Liza says, it's amazing how precise they are. I saw an eagle on the nest at the St. Lawrence River once. It was huge. They do get big. I was camping under a bald eagle nest last year. Wow. There are a lot of bald eagles here. I got a picture of one yesterday. That's outstanding. I wish we had more here. The one thing I want to see where I'm at, that the only thing that we have here that's unique, I mean, it's not unique to just like here, but within, a few 100-mile radius is we have condors. And I really, really want to go out and see the condors. I think condors are one of the coolest birds. Just massive birds. They just soar around. We have a condor sanctuary here, and not that many people go to view it, which I've always been shocked about. But you can go out about, 70, 80 miles east of here. It's a big, wide open plain. Maybe not even that far. It's a big, wide open plain. And there's I guess you'd call it a rehab center. A hatching center now too, I guess they do that. But I think it started as a rehab center where they would send injured ones from further up north here, and they get rehabilitated and released back into the wild. And so we've always had condors here, and supposedly every now and again they'll fly to where I'm at, but I've yet to see one. But oh man, really want to see a condor in the wild. I think that would just be one of the coolest things. Has anybody seen a condor in the wild? Condors would be amazing. Egrets are fun too. Egrets are fun. We have lots of egrets. Egrets are cool. And great blue herons are cool. And pelicans are cool. But I want to see a bird with that massive wingspan. I really do. There's a raptor sanctuary center near me that opens up to the public only one day a year. Wow. wow, the last 2 days I've been visiting a woodpecker. He just hangs out in the same tree. I get pictures in the video. That's cool. Woodpeckers are pretty cool too. Did you name him Woody? I hope you named him Woody. I mean, it seems like, or is that too cliche? Do they all get named Woody? Maybe that's what happens. They all get named Woody, and nobody wants to name him Woody anymore. Maybe that could be. It totally could be. Yeah, Natalie says you got a lot of herons and egrets around the golf courses. I always want to know, how did they get that far inland? They always seem like really, water birds to me. Like they shouldn't be going 600 miles inland to find a lake on a golf course. I mean, it's cool that they do. I'm glad they do, but actually maybe it's not that bad. Is it because to get to you, Natalie, they probably are coming from San Diego, I would guess, and then stop off at, I almost said Lake Elsinore. It's not Lake Elsinore. The Great Salton Sea, and then on inland from there. That's probably what they do, I would guess. So maybe it's not such a stretch that they make it your way. All right, so our bird's kind of getting there. It's kind of getting there. I want to darken this up underneath here. Let's get a little bit of blue, a little bit of sepia. I want to make sure that we know there's a beak there. There's a break point here, right? I want to make sure everybody knows when they look at this. That there's an area underneath here. There we go. I think that little dark probably makes that beak stand out just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Paint around his eye. Paint around his eye. And now this guy, I know we put a little color on there to darken him up a little bit more, but I don't think we got quite enough. I want to circle back. And no, I haven't forgotten. I know there's a whole tree trunk, a whole branch, whatever we want to say, behind our main robin here. I haven't forgotten about that. We're going to get to that. Yeah, I need to give him a little darkness on his head here. Come on, my colors aren't coming off. I think something like that was going to be pretty good. We always had blue herons in upstate New York too, on the rivers and lakes. Wait, Liza, you've never seen a heron? Sherry, I think I need to sharpen my finger. from the Gulf of America. Yeah. Well, I don't know why we're sharpening fingers here. That sounds dangerous to me. I don't know if I like that. Let's nobody sharpen a finger. All right, let's just all agree. Right now, everybody's fingers are fine and none of them need sharpened. Can we do that? I'm going to add some darks here into our nest color. Right. Some of this can be right a little further back. Some of it can be a little further forward. There'll be a shadow here and a shadow there. I want to give this a kind of a mottled look and a mottled feel without doing too much to it. Shoot, maybe we should put in a little gray in here too, right? Some of these sticks probably aren't alive anymore, that would be my guess. So a little extra color might not be out of order in here. Might help to add a little bit of life to this too. Having a few little darker areas always makes the light a little nicer. There you go. I don't know. I think that's a decent nest. I don't know if it's perfect, but you know what it is as soon as you look at it, for sure. Has anybody bought? Tracy says I'm doing. Natalie, a guy at my city's recreation department told me that herons started to show up at a local man-made pond because the park district stocks it with fish. There you go. Somebody asked Tracy, obviously, how she's doing, and Tracy says, I'm doing okay. Oh, it was Liza. Liza. I have a few practice pieces I've been working on. I'm trying to improve my sketching. Oh my God, Tracy, you're trying to improve your sketching. You're already better than everybody else in the room. But please don't stop. I think your sketches are fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, and Liza says too, Tracy, I think your sketching is very, very good. You did a great job making the portraits of your loved ones. Yeah, what a treasure. Now this is not really. I picked up a couple of class palettes when I caught them on sale. And Tracy just got some old vintage Prang paints. Prang paints. Prang paints. Which is cool too, right? Some of the old vintage painting kits are really neat. Really neat. I have one that I've never used, which I always thought was really interesting. I think it's written in German, if I remember. I didn't really realize Germans were known for watercolors. I think I have it. Oh, I thought I had it right here. Maybe not. Oh, man. It was a... Where is it? It was a booklet that you opened it up and all the paints were on a piece of paper. And you either tore the piece of paper out and used that as your coloring, or you just got the page wet and used that. And it really was kind of a neat thing. Well, I thought it was right there. And I was going to pull it out, and the best laid plans, I guess. Something. Best laid plans don't always go all that well. Is that how the saying goes? It's something like that. Tracy, have you used... Schminke's German. No, I think... Is Schminke German? Pelican is German. For whatever reason. Is Schminke German? It could be. For some reason, I thought it was French. But I will admit, I could be very wrong. I could be completely off base on that. Okay, all right. I think I'm getting a little off base here. Come on, let's get this guy back on track. Just got to get him back to looking good here. Liza says, Susie is hoping to score paints that are rummage in estate sales this year. Yeah. Last year I got 20 tubes of Holbein for $8, and most had never been opened. Oh, that's fantastic. Tracy says, I have before, but I have a few nice colors I want to try out too. It's exciting to see the exciting. It's exciting to see the vintage magenta. I do like magenta. Magenta's a wonderful color. Really a wonderful color. All right, I don't want to do too much on that little bird there. I think we got. I might have gone a little too dark. I like darks, but I might have gone a little too dark on this guy. Let me see if I can pull some of that color off of there. There we go. Oh, but he's sitting there. He looks great. He looks great. All right. We need to do a little bit up here. Let's do this. Let's see what we got here. It's a little dark out here on this beak. This is a beak. This is a beak. Not a water bird. Not a water bird. Non-water birds have beaks, not bills. This is a beak. A little darker out there, a little lighter as it comes in there. I'm going to do the top part just like that, and then I'm going to come in and do the bottom, and the bottom's going to have kind of a brighter yellow feel to it. And while we're up there, let's take a first crack at this eyeball. I have Mi Lang, pretty exciting palette for my student classes. That's the one. The pretty excellent palette. That's the one that Lindsay Wyrick likes so much, is it not? Somebody will know that. I think she really likes. I don't know what she uses on her everyday painting or anything, but I think she really likes that pretty excellent palette. Okay, I feel like I'm really taking my time here. I feel like I don't normally take this much time to paint certain things. I have Mi Lang. They're actually pretty good. Good. Yes. Okay. So Natalie says yes. Lindsay Wyrick highly recommends. Yeah, that's the one she really likes, and she likes a different one too. Oh, and Natalie, you give him his gifts. That's awesome. Liza, you trust Natalie's reviews, and you should. Doesn't she also like God, I'm trying to think what it is. Like whale paints? Is there a whale brand of paint or something? Something tells me it's something like that. She likes Paul Rubens a lot too. Yeah. Yep. I do like some of the Paul Rubens stuff. I think Paul Rubens makes some really nice paints. And some nice paper too, for that matter. For an inexpensive paper, he makes a nice kind of a paper. And it always comes bound in a nice book and looks really nice. It does. It really does. All right, I don't know what this is down here. This is some fluff for something. Art whale, that's it. I knew whale was in there somewhere. Art whale. Yeah. Those two in tubes. Natalie, you have those in tubes too. Are those good? I want to say I saw her doing a review of art whale stuff at one point in time. I'm assuming if she did. Those are pretty good. All right, let's see what we need to do. I need to pull this forward. So I like where our bird is at. I like where our main bird is at here. I need to do a little bit more on the head. I think a little bit more on the head will give it more of a round structure. Oh man, I covered over some of the white that should have been down here. That's okay. We'll come back with a little white and we'll highlight some stuff. So a little bit more on the top of the head gives some roundness. I like on the back, it gives it more like it's more seated in place. This bird is a little bit more seated in place. Got these feathers here. I like those. This needs to come forward, and maybe some texture and like a light brown gray back here behind this bird. And we're getting pretty close to being done with this. All right, so I'm going to, because not really because of anything, let's start. Give me some blue, give me some of this burnt umber, and you know what? Let's throw this green. This is mostly cobalt green. Let's throw that green in there too. Shoo, that's pretty good. Okay, cool. And with any luck, this is going to come out maybe a little bit more blue in some spots. This is going to come out looking nice, and I'll be happy if it comes out looking recognizable. Want right up to, but not over. Anything that we've previously painted would be fantastic. All right, there. Some days, some nights, my eyes don't always want to work with me, and it's hard to see where the exact tip of this brush is. And I don't know if it's because I grabbed a slightly bigger brush or not. But tonight, it seems to be working with me. And I can see where my brush tip is. And it quite honestly is making painting just a little easier. And I'm super excited about that. I will be honest. So I don't want this to be super dark. I want it to be pretty light. It's behind all of these birds. So it doesn't need to be dark. I need to tell myself it doesn't need to be dark. The one in front, that can be a bit darker. Won't matter. This one, it's a bit behind. It can be a little lighter. How are we doing with it? That's, to me, too dark. It's too dark. While we're still wet, let's work to get some of that off. Let me look at it. That's better. It's better. It's better. That's better. Come on, I don't want to run out of color though. Come on, let's see if we can stretch this a little bit. Come on, color. Come out, come out. All right. I can probably live with that. Let me throw in some of these other colors in here. And if they get a little mottled, I'm okay with it. It's a tree. It's a big old tree hanging out back here. What's it gonna do, right? There we go. I like that. Whoop. Let me get to where you can see it. Okay, I like that. That's now light enough. You know it's back behind. This bird is dark enough. It's definitely in front. There's no getting around that at this point. Those are known things. And if we make this even darker, it should pull this right to the front. We can force it to the front. I'm going to make it warmer. Whether it wants to be warmer or not, I'm going to make it warmer. that little bit of red that's in there, whether it needs to be there or not, probably doesn't. But that little bit of red that I just dropped in there is going to force that right to the front. Even if I put some blue in here or some green, maybe not that much green. That's gonna tone everything down. It's gonna be right up in the front, but that little bit of red in there, I look at it, I don't necessarily see it on the page down here. Pulls that right forward. Yeah, look, you can't even tell there's really any red there, but you can see it's there. Okay, all right. Oh, we're getting close. We're really getting close here. Let's see, now I need a tiny little brush. I'm gonna something lighter underneath here. And then it's going to go back to this Gamboge color by the time we get to the back. All right, maybe just a touch of brown in here. I like that. And since we're here, I'm going to tighten up the top of this. I'm going to paint in a little bit of this nostril. This is another night that I feel like I'm just yammering the whole way. I just feel like I'm yammering on the whole way. I used to use colored pencils in my watercolor once in a while. Susie, that's a cool way to enhance some color. The pencils in a pinch to fix something, and that's about it. You use pencils in a pinch to fix some stuff. Look, there's nothing wrong with it. You know what happens if you use colored pencils in your watercolors? You get to tell everybody you did a multimedia painting. Huh? Right? It's multimedia. Watercolors and colored pencils. Anybody use watercolor pencils? I'm not the biggest fan. I should do watercolor pencils on here. There's lots of different applications for them. I really should touch up how I use them too. That would be fun. That could be a lot of fun. All right, that eye is coming in, right? Left a little bit of highlight. We're going to accentuate that in a little bit. Who's been practicing with watercolor pencils? Sudike has. That's great. And how has your practice been going? I bet you're doing great. I bet you're doing fantastic with it. My boss gave me a big set of watercolor pencils. Wow. There you go. So, Natalie, your boss gave you a big set and said, I'm expecting to see something really fantastic come from these? Was that the understanding with the watercolor pencils? But that was a fantastic gift. Watercolor pencils are really cool because they can be used in a lot of different ways, right? Scratch them on really lightly and get them wet, and it's almost just like we're using paint. Almost. Dig a little deeper and you can start to put some texture in a couple of places with them, which gives you some cool things. And then you can just go over the top of everything too with them and use them kind of almost like a traditional colored pencil. But my favorite thing about watercolor pencils is, and Natalie, you can dispute this if you want, but you look at the watercolor pencils, or I guess anybody who uses them, you look at the watercolor pencils and they have all these goofy, weird colors. You're like, what is that? And then they never seem to be the same color on the pencil as they are on your paper. Every time I've used them, I'm like, this is a weird color. I don't know what I want to use. This is a red. This is kind of pink. What am I going to use this color for? And then you put it on paper and you're like, oh, actually, that's kind of a cool color. And it's not like the pencil was, but it's not really always like everything else is either. Oh yeah, Sudike. That's a good point. I've seen a lot of people do that too. You use that watercolor pencil to do your initial wash. A lot of people will use like a yellow or a really, light color. And then that just kind of washes into everything else. And you don't have too much to worry about. Your lines are gone. Everything looks good. There we go. There we go. Does that head look better on this bird? I think it's getting there. I'll do a little bit more down here. Like underneath here. It's just a little extra color. Take a little off there. Okay, good. No, I like that. Take that little bit off. Okay. And I want to put in a couple of really simple. So yes, I tried that. Sometimes I use them to do monochromatic studies. There you go. I'm still learning the contrast thing. Use some pastel pencils for highlights. That's a good one too. Pastels are a great way to add some highlights too. All right. I don't want to do too much on the rest of this bird. I'm going to put a few like markings here and there. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just trying to think what else I need to do on this little painting. I think so much of this looks really good. So actually, the nest here looks a bit of a mess. If I'm looking at it on the page here, but if I look at it from back here, or if I look at it up on the screen up there, I think it really looks good. It really gives the feeling that there's some deeper craggy bits in there, and there's some right up towards the surface. There's a British gal on YouTube who uses pastel over her watercolors a lot. She calls her painting splodge and scribble. That's funny. So like I said, I did a few birds in watercolors and then enhanced them with watercolor pencils. It was interesting. That's a cool way to do it. I'm going to give a little bit more. I got to wait for just a second. I have to ramble on about what I'm talking about for just a second more, because I want to come back in and do a little bit more on this eye. A third layer on the eye. Jet black here. Jet black. I think it's just a little bit damp. Yeah, it's just ever so damp, but I think it's okay. I think it'll be fine. And then, where do we need any highlights? Do we need any highlights? Ow. Boy, I can't get my gouache open. Oh! She needs a little shade. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, I challenge Michael to break out with combining such things as watercolor, paints, and... Oh, that's... Okay, I'll do that. Look, I got some pencils here, and I used to do that all the time. I'm not sure I'll be honest with you though. I think I got rid of all my pastels because they were so messy. So I'm not sure I'm going to partake in the pastel portion, but hang on, I got one more drawer to look at. Oh, look, I found my color wheel. I knew it was around here somewhere. And then while I'm waiting for this to dry, let's just take a look to see what we do have here. Those are watercolor pencils, and I've got a few. I should say I have a few. I should do this more, right? Watercolor pencils. Holy cow! I didn't know I had this many. Watercolor pencils and watercolor pencils. Okay. All right, I might have to do a video on watercolor pencils. Oh, and the last one here is watercolor crayons. Don't forget those. And watercolor crayons. I've got a few things here. I'm not gonna buy pastels. I'm not gonna buy pastels. Pastels are messy. Yeah, I think I got rid of them because they were so messy. Actually, what I did one time, and this was up on my channel for a long time before my channel got hacked, and then I took a whole bunch of stuff down. But I did, and I filmed most of it. I did a 7-foot long mural for one of my kids, and I had it all on YouTube, and I thought it was great. I think the kids thought it was great. I took it in the house, and my wife about blew a lid because dragging it in, I didn't have any fixer to spray it with or anything, and so I took it in the house, and I got stuff all over my hands. It goes all over everything else. It was out of control. Now, you bought the Nicolo 2s. Is that what these ones are? No, I don't know. Yeah, Suduki says, Michael, I thought I was bad. These are ones I've collected over the course of, 15 years or so. Plus, like these ones, right? The sparkle watercolor gel crayons. Not something I would really buy for myself, but they're fun to play with. And then the Faber-Castell watercolor crayons we bought for the kids to use when they were little, and they just never did, and so I grabbed them. But quite honestly, they're both fun to use. And then the watercolor pencils are just something that, I don't know, half of them were given to me or whatnot over the years. Okay, so cool. I got a couple of highlights on here. Right, there you go. Right in the eyeball there. I think it looks pretty good. Oh, I probably should darken this up. I think before I do anything else, I'm going to darken. I got some of this color left over. I'm going to darken this up. But isn't that always the case? I always end up with like 3 times as many either paints or brushes or whatever as everybody else. I mean, this is kind of how it goes, right? I don't know. If you were to ask us what we like most about your painting, I would say the eyeball and the baby's mouth open. I think I was going to say all kidding aside, but in all sincerity, that the bird's just in a position that lots of birds are at. This guy was the guy. When I saw this guy, I was like, okay, that guy I like. he's just kind of sitting there yapping his head off or whatnot. I really like him. I could actually even go darker inside there. Probably be better. Could probably go darker a lot of this. Let's take a look. While I stick my finger in the wet paint. So I'm trying to do a comparison. Let me guys let you see the reference photo here real quick. So, and you're going to see this when next week do pencils and crayon. Oh, okay, I might do that. So when you see the head of this bird, mine, you're going to see some nice darkness around the head, up towards the bill and back towards the head, almost back to where the neck and the shoulder meet, right? You're going to see a lot of nice color in there. It very much matches what the reference photo has, okay? But, all right, so that's up here that I'm talking about. Some of this area is really nice. But I probably could, and if I took a little extra time, I could probably darken some of the edges of this guy. I darkened that, made that edge darker. It would even pull him a little bit further forward. I could do a little under his eyes, right? That would give a little bit more shape to his head. And I could probably darken a little bit more down here. That would really help out. But I don't know, quite honestly, that really needs it, right? Susie, you have a set of Inktense sticks and you don't know what to do with. Use them like ink. Get them wet. They're ink. You can use it like a watercolor, a staining watercolor. Let's see. Do you like Sudika? Do you like your pencils? Sudika says, Liza, you're a mess. Let's see. Sudika says, I think I'm too inexperienced to really tell because I actually prefer the Faber-Castell. Hey, it's not about what's more expensive or what other people think you should be using paint with. It's what works for you in your style. If you like the Faber-Castells, stick with those. That would be what I would say. Okay. So I like the head. I like most of the head. I wish I hadn't forgotten some of the white down here. I don't even know if I could put it on with this. If I put it on this way, I don't know that I'm gonna have the intensity that I want. But I know there's some white that should be down here. Right? There might be a little white that can go here and here. Something like that. And make it a little bit better. Is there some white that could go under the chin on this one? Sure. I'm not going to do that. I don't know that it needs it. Now look, now I've made a total mess. Look, it's all over my fingers. I got white all over my fingers. Apart from a few things here and there, I went on a little thick right here. I don't mind the color. I just think the thickness kind of in one layer. Probably isn't what I wanted. Suzuki says I don't have a style. Yeah, sure. You just haven't recognized what it is yet. You have one. You just haven't recognized what it is yet. You will. So little things here and there. I like the feathers down here. The suggestion of some feathers. Not overbearing anybody with some feathers. I could have gone in, put some little flicks in here. You know, taking a color, put a little flick here and there. There's a feather here. There's a feather there, right? Put it in kind of in the direction that feathers go here. One here, one there, a couple here. That's the thing, is you've got to put them in the direction that the feathers go in. If you put them in an off direction, they're going to look really funny. So a couple of spots here and there, and it might help out. All in all, though, I think it's pretty successful. You know what it is. You see it, you know, you totally know what it is. It's an adult and two babies. The babies are instantly recognizable. You know that it's a nest, and you know that the mom here is looking out over it going, okay, everybody stay away. I got kids here. So I think with that, I'm going to call it done for this evening. Next week, I'll consider the watercolor pencil, watercolor crayon challenge. I'd have to figure out something to paint or to draw. But I'm always up for a challenge. If I don't do it next week, maybe we'll do it the following week. It'll give me a little while to think about something. But until then, I hope that everybody has a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you're able to join me back here again next week. And until then, have a great night. Bye-bye.